Today is a very special and important day. Today is August 17th and it is International Foot Day. So happy Feet Day, everyone. And today I would like to share with you how eFoiling has changed my life for the better. It's changed my life in many different ways, and I bet it has done so for you as well. And for those who haven't tried foiling yet, I hope you'll give it a try, and I bet you'll be living life to the fullest, as I like to say. And so how has eFoiling changed my life for the better in a very unexpected way, which is in relation to the feet? And that's what I would like to talk about today, and you may have guessed it because of me mentioning that it's International Foot Day today on August 17th. And it all started when I was looking for a shoe that would protect my feet from the hazards, be it natural or man-made, above and below the sand as I was carrying my eFoil to and from my car in the water. But I wanted it to be a minimalist, lightweight, barely there shoe so that it would not negatively impact my swimming or the foot to board contact, so that I would have better control over the board. As many of you who may have participated in board sports know that a good pair of shoes with good contact to the board is invaluable. And these search terms led me to the Xero Shoes website and company. Xero. And from there, it took me on an adventure of various things and learning that I wish I could share with you and unload all at once right now, but I want to keep this video short and not overwhelm people. And I'm so happy that I learned this when I did. I might have learned it eventually because this movement of foot health has been growing, and I probably would have learned it eventually, but I'm so happy I learned it when I did, because I was able to take that information and pass it on to my family and my kids so that they could grow into strong, healthy feet from an early age. So allow me to invite you to forget or set aside everything that you have learned or think that you have learned from the major shoe industries, such as Nike, Adidas, etc. And just kind of set that aside. And I want you to think about a very common phrase in regards to just movement in general of any body part. And that is, use it or lose it. Use it or lose it. So what happens to any body part if you don't use it? It's going to get weaker. It's going to become less flexible. Now, knowing this, think about the feet. They're extremely complex and an amazing part of the body. 1/4 of the bones in your body are in your ankles below. So in your ankles and your feet, 1/4 of the bones. There's also more nerve endings in your feet than anywhere else in the body, other than like the fingertips and the lips. So when you put that together, you think of all the nerve endings, all of the bones, all of the ligaments, all the muscles, and you shove that into a shoe that squishes your toes together, doesn't allow them to spread, doesn't allow it to move and to flex. Are you using your feet? Are you using all of those complex muscles and bones and ligaments, or even the nerve endings? Well, if you're like me and you've been wearing shoes like every waking moment of your life except for when you're in water, showering or swimming, then you probably have very little movement in your individual toes. You have less strength in your foot than you might have ever thought you had. I mean, you're walking on your feet all the day, but that doesn't mean you're using each of those intricate muscles. So I went from a person who could barely move my individual fingers of my toes. I could maybe do this with my toes and this. I couldn't spread them, but now I can. So one thing I would like to talk about also in relation to that use it or lose it, there's actually been a study done by Sarah Ridge in the Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. And I actually went to school there, so this is kind of cool. And they did a very unique but very basic study that proves that same use it or lose it fact about the feet. They took a group of people who were wearing minimalist shoes, and they were just kind of doing normal walking daily activities in those minimalist shoes. They had a control group, and then they had a group that was doing a foot exercise regimen. So they're kind of like, using different machines or tools to exercise the feet. And the people that were in those minimalist shoes, their foot strength increased the same amount as those who were doing an actual foot strengthening regimen. And so that right there just kind of shows that use it or lose it thing that we all know. So just simply wearing minimalist shoes can strengthen your feet. And if your feet are strong, they're less likely to be injured. And they're more likely to perform. And your feet are your foundation. That's another term I'd like you to think about. Your foundation, the foundation of a house, the foundation of anything is so important. If your foundation is strong, everything else above it is going to be good and strong. If your foundation is weak, everything else above it is going to be weak, be it your hips or your back. And in a previous video, because this is kind of a part 2 video, I showed a Naboso insole, which has a bunch of little kind of points on it. And I learned about this company through the Zero Shoes website as well. And it intrigued me, so I bought a pair of those and I put them in my shoes for eFoiling. And putting my feet on those soles with all those little points, it was kind of like a nail bed. It wasn't uncomfortable, but it was definitely a weird sensation. And I could feel it just kind of reawakening all those nerves and senses of feeling in my foot. I could feel the different amounts of pressure on my toes, my big toe, little toe, heel, everywhere. And it just set all those nerves on fire and reawakened them. And then when I went home and I took off my shoes, I was able to feel every fiber in the carpet of my house. It was just the weirdest thing. And over time, that's kind of gone away as the brain, it was overwhelmed almost with so many new sensations that your brain eventually learns to turn off things that it doesn't need. Now, your brain turning off things that it doesn't need versus turning off things that it's not using are two very different things. And a lot of my nerves were turned off from just not using them. I'll include some of the different websites that I've enjoyed most for you to take a look at. And you may have noticed that I have some different shoes than the previous video. I shot a video yesterday. So I'm trying out these Saguaro shoes. They're an affordable brand, barefoot shoe, I guess you could say. Seeing how they work out because my other shoes are starting to fall apart after 3 to 4 years of using those. And then speaking of shoes, there's one additional shoe that I forgot to mention that I have tried. I have actually tried those 5-finger Vibram shoes. And though they may have performed the best on the eFoil of all shoes that I've tried so far, I did not like having to put each individual toe into the slots. It felt like I was putting on 5 pairs of shoes, and I'd rather be quick and easy and simple. And so I decided I just didn't like them for that reason. And also when I tried hiking in them a little bit and hiking in sand and having that sand go between your toes along with the fabric and materials between my toes. I'm sure I could have got used to it, but it was just kind of a weird sensation. Wasn't sure if I really liked that. So I gave them away because I didn't like the extra time it took to put them on, and it just kind of felt weird between my toes, which, if I'm using it just for eFoiling, that has no relation. But anyway, that's it. I don't want this video to go too much longer. I'm going to go home, spend the rest of this special day with my family, because it's a special day for my family as well, not just International Foot Day. And so yeah, live life to the fullest, and remember to kiss your feet. Appreciate your feet. They do so much for you. It's so easy to take them for granted.